y'all. We're about to start in a minute. Thank you for joining. And who was first in the chat today? Gary! First in the chat. You even beat Andy. That is surprising. Thank you all for joining. There's Andy. Howdy, Andy. Thank Commander Andy. Type that in there. Boom. Tanker Steve, I see you there. Thank y'all. Alright, where is the intro? Plus credits, here we go! Shout out to all my Patreons who make this show possible. You can support me by joining Patreon in the link below. And on to Tank Radio. Credits, here we go. Credits, here we go. A quick shout out to all my Patreons who make this show possible. You can support me by joining Patreon. A quick shout out to all my and on to Tank Radio. Here we go. And on to Tank Radio. Credits, here we go. Quick shout out to all my Patreons who make this show possible. Quick shout out to all my Patreons who make this show possible. And on to Tank Radio. Here we go. And on to Tank Radio. Here we go.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
What is up, y'all? Oops. What is going on, y'all? I'm Frank, KD9OLN, and don't mind that audio looping. Oh my god, I hope everything's alright right now. What is up, y'all? I am here somewhere else. There we got it. I got it. I swear I've done this before. There we go. But at least no one's muted. Just everything was playing at once. So, welcome to Tank Radio, where I play all the audio at once. I'm Frank, KD9OLN, and that's a better input. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope I didn't blow out your speakers. I was maxing everything out there. Let me go ahead and just start it off here, man. I had a great week. It's been an awesome week. I haven't really played a lot of radio, but last weekend we went out to Garland and we uploaded there. My logs are already uploaded. I met Kent and Jess and Don, and we played Poda, and I got 50 contacts in an hour. Man, that was a big pile up, man. It was a massive pile up. The contacts are already uploaded. Sent me QSL cards. I think it's next weekend. I kind of have a light weekend going on, so I will be doing QSL cards. I have one new coin order that was supposed to be shipped out today. I just was too busy. Let me show you what I was doing today to better support Tank Radio, though. Left screen and transition. I rewired my networking closet. Look at that. Wait, am I still muted? Tank, you're muted. Why am I still muted? No? Are you sure? To better support. Nope, I hear it there. I am not muted. I think I should be good. But I rewired my networking closet. I took out all the network cables and I redid it. I reworked the power, and that's working. And then I did some cleanup. Look at that. Look how pretty it is. Let me take off my camera. But look how pretty that is. And the next picture, I put my new graphics card into the computer. I have a NVIDIA 380. So the video I just released like last week telling you all my specs on the desktop. What did Tank say? What did you say, Tank? I'm Tank Radio. That's what I said. But I just put the 380 in the computer. Here it is. I turned it on and it looks beautiful. So we'll see how that renders later. I can't wait to render a new video. I'm hoping 120 plus frames a second on that. hopefully should scream. And that's my dinner. I cooked pasta. That's right. I broke keto right now. Well, it was a busy weekend and it was just hard, so I said, screw it. I broke keto. I made my own chicken parmesan, and I'm drinking fancy tonight. Some wine, if y'all want to know. Roberts. I haven't had this in a while. I really like this one yard. Um, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Who knew the tank can cook? One last thing for the channel. Patreon's going on, and you can go ahead and join Patreon. The Patreon call is going to be coming up next weekend. Next Sunday is going to be my weekly Patreon call, and to all my tank commanders out there, you're going to come in. We're going to talk. We're going to have a good time, and we are just going to just talk about radio and what's going on in the channel and the background stuff. Final note. The coins, I have Tank Radio coins, and they're no longer in pre-order. You go ahead and order them now, and I should be shipping out once a week on Sundays. I'll do all the packing, except this week I'm going to do it tomorrow, and it'll be in the mail Tuesday. I promise. I promise. And one final thing here. Oh, this is not up. Bad YouTuber. I did have a couple buy me a beer purchases between now and last stream, and I want to go ahead and thank y'all. We're just getting a new window coming up. Buy me a beer, and this is if I had a co-host on, they can go ahead and tread water for me. But oh, that was the wrong account. Fail. So let's just bring in Carlos. Thank you. I will get your names in a minute. I'll read them off by the end of the stream. But now I am going to bring Carlos on. What is going on, man? You're muted this time. It's not me. You're muted this time. It's not me. you're After all that, man. Oh, I'm sitting there double checking my settings. Make sure everything is clean. No mutes.
It's me. It's me.
What is up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you, Frank?
Oh, I am doing amazing, man. A little busy weekend. I'm getting back on track, and everything is going to be fine. I clicked the wrong account again twice.
Oopsie.
Yes.
It'll be okay, though.
It's been one of those days, but no, everything kind of just smashed together really, really fast for this. I shouldn't have done it, but I really wanted to put the graphics card in. I was like, I have 2 hours before the stream, right? No, 3 hours before the stream. I could do an hour for the card and get it up and running in the drivers, everything cool. Then go to the grocery store, come back. That gives me an hour and a half to cook chicken parmesan. Ugh.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? But I did it. I did it all. And guess what? My shirt, there is no sauce that you can see on camera. So, yes!
That you can see on camera. That's the key word there, right?
You always got to clarify, especially with me. Oh, man. But how are you doing, man? How was your week?
You know what? The week has been pretty good. The weather around here is finally turning. I don't know down there, but we're finally getting a little bit of warmth. I was able to get outside and get some antenna work cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
So with any luck, I'll be on, I'll have my 160 meter wire figured out this week.
Ooh, 160 meters. So what are you planning to do with that?
The typical 160 meter thing, which is, be rude and obnoxious and butt into people on nets.
Well, I thought that was 80 meters on the one frequency we don't talk about.
80 meters too, but the 160 is notorious for also having the old men be rude and obnoxious and never ID themselves. I'm not old yet, so I have to ID myself and not be rude and obnoxious. So, but yeah, man, lots of getting done here. Picked up my parachute from my rigger, so I'm ready to go for the season. And a couple of about a month from today, I'll be in the sky with any luck.
Nice. So is there a so today's topic is parachute mobile, and we're going to dig into that a little bit, but just a little bit of background on parachuting. How'd you get started in that?
About the same way as I got started on YouTube, as a
Mm-hmm.
complete and utter accident.
Oh, most of
Um,
us all here.
so as a child, as a 4-year-old, I saw the U.S. Army's parachute team, the Golden Knights, jump into my hometown for an event, and it was something that awed me. Right. Years later, I joined the Army, and I met my wife, and we got married. And one of the many things I noted on a regular basis was, I'm going to skydive. 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 And she got sick and tired of hearing me say I'm going to and not actually doing.
She pushed you into it?
She got me 2 tandems for my birthday and said, "Here you go. And oh, by the way, if you have 2, if you want me to go with you, give me one of those back, and I'll go with you." And she thought it would be a one and done thing. I'd get it out of my system and just move on to other things. And I never got it out of my system. It became an insanely addictive thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I made my first tandem in 2011. I got my license in 2012, and the rest is history, man. I've just been piling on the jumps and getting my ratings, and now I have every rating that matters to me. At least, well, every instructional rating that matters to me. I'm going to work on a couple other ratings here in the next couple of years, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am a professional in the field now.
Oh,
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. It is not for everyone. So, I have people that say, I would never. I'm like, oh, that's okay. It's not, it's not for everyone. I would never. I get it. But maybe if you do, maybe it's a one and done thing, and maybe it becomes an addiction like it did for me. So
a good addiction. A good addiction.
it's a fantastic addiction. It's the most
This episode of
fantastic
The Modern
legal
Road
drug there is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into illegal drugs. I'm not into drugs in general. I have an occasional beer on Thursday nights most of the time, sometimes on Tuesday nights with the clubhouse folks.
Always the
But
clubhouse folks, man. They're rocking it over there.
oh man, they definitely have a funny stream every week. And the drugs are just not for me. It's just not what I do. And then this is an exceptional, amazing high that is 100% legal, and it's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing.
There's a quick question. Are you part of a parachute club from
I am not a member of a parachute club. I skydive at Rochelle, Illinois, and Chicagoland Skydiving Center. CSC is a regular, everyday commercial skydiving operation. There's a fellow that owns it, and it's his business. There are a number of parachute clubs around the country, and parachute clubs work a lot like ham radio clubs do, in that you have dues that you pay, and that is what drives the engine on the back end to pay for maintenance for the aircraft and to pay for rent for the hangar and so on and so forth. The drop zone I work at is a normal everyday business that happens to be skydiving related. And, there's one person at the helm, and that person is responsible for everything. So I don't have to worry about dues or anything like that. I pay my jump ticket and into the sky I go.
Already, thank you, someone. They're usually the first one to buy me a beer. I really appreciate that. That's so cool. So, how did you get the wild burr to finally decide mixing radio and skydiving? Is it skydive mobile, parachute mobile? Oh my God, I'm falling out of the aircraft. Let's throw a radio out there too, mobile.
I call it parachute mobile because I am not in free fall. Basically, I get out of the airplane, and shortly thereafter, I open up my parachute. So I'm not free falling at 120 miles an hour at that point in time. I'm descending at about 20 miles an hour under parachute. And what got me there was basically curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see how far I could get with my 5-watt handy talkie. And, I know how far it goes on the ground. I know where it struggles. I know where it succeeds. I know, what ticks and what doesn't. I want to know what is essentially that impossible to achieve perfect antenna
Mm-hmm.
gets me, right? Because at 14,000 feet, I have zero noise from anything around me, right? The
Well,
only
but
electronics is me. It's my
the
handy
zero
talkie. That's
noise,
it.
or just the wind falling past you, or since you're in a parachute, there is hardly any wind noise.
There's hardly any wind noise, and then there is no electronic interference, right? So there's no EMI to speak of at 100 at 14,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So your S level drops to near zero, or
Mm-hmm.
basically, in all essence, is zero.
Mm-hmm.
So how far can I push 5 watts is what became of it, right? So and this is where the accidents happen in terms of where my YouTube channel is at. Um, I expected this to be a one and done thing. I expected this maybe to be a 2 or 3 and done thing, just experimenting with different antennas on my HT and then
Mm-hmm.
figuring out what works better. And then, I made the first jump and I made a few contacts and I decided, well, those people may want to know what it sounded like on my end. So I posted it on YouTube and, went on QRZ and looked up their emails and sent them an email saying, hey, here's the YouTube link.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody sent me a message saying, why don't you post this on Reddit? I'm like, sure, no big deal. I'll post it on Reddit, posted it on the amateur radio and the ham radio subreddits, which baffles me as to why those two are not one, but that's a different story for a different day.
We don't
Uh,
try not to pick apart Reddit. We're just happy that they're a supporting community.
exactly. So I posted it on Reddit and, I went to sleep and then the next morning I woke up and there were like 400 views on one video.
400.
Like, this
What?
is bizarre,
Uh
right?
huh.
So,
Uh
a week goes by and the video's got like 1,200 views and I'm scratching my head. I'm going, okay, maybe I'm onto something here.
huh.
Maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
onto
Mm-hmm.
something here. And I think Josh picked it up. I think Josh found out about it. I did post it on HRCC's Discord because I was, been a member there, and Josh put it on one of his streams, and it went to like 2,000 views in the matter of a day, and I was like, oh my god, I have a monster here.
Yep.
So basically that's what evolved it into. I'm just okay. I'm gonna make jumps, and I have this HT, and I'm gonna make it work. I got my general. I already had my general at that point in time, but I didn't have an HF radio.
Mm-hmm.
And when I eventually got an HF radio that I could take up into the sky, well, why not experiment with that too?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. What you're showing now is a picture. I think it's saying 3,700 feet, I believe.
Yeah. So I think that's what the instrument on your right forearm says.
Yes.
3,700. And I was just thumbing through some photos as you were talking, and it's just you sent me some great pictures, man, to show. These are amazing.
And you have exclusive content because these are pictures from a video that I never released.
Really?
This is my very first HF jump.
Mm-hmm.
I announced it on Toad's Discord and on HRCC's Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And I was expecting to make 1 or 2 contacts, and I think I ended up with like 3 official contacts on it. After hearing it again, I realized that there were other stations that actually made it through. I just couldn't make them out because I didn't have an optimal setup. This was a test jump for me. And it was very clear at that jump that I needed a headset. So the next jump I made with HF, I had a headset on. But on that jump, I was just using the speaker on the radio just to hear, and just couldn't quite make it out. So
let's kind of go through your process here. So when you get ready to do a HF jump, what do you do to get ready? The schedule, or what do you do to prepare?
So the schedule is kind of weird because I work in skydiving, right? I get paid to do tandems and to do what's called AFF, which is when people want to get their license, they go through a process called AFF, accelerated freefall, in which they learn how to skydive, right? And unless I completely take myself off the working schedule, then I don't know what's coming for me today, right? So on a typical day, what happens is, at least this has been the case so far. I'll look at the loadout and go, okay, I don't have a busy day ahead of me. I can plan something for maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever the case might be. And then I'll start loading my laptop with SDRs, right? Listening SDRs from different places around the nation, trying to figure out what frequency and on what band, right? And it's typically been 20 meters, and then just trying to find an open frequency that doesn't have any traffic anywhere, ideally. And okay, we set that the frequency, and then I'll go onto the Discord and say, hey, gang, if you don't mind, start talking on that frequency so that it's held open, right? And then that's the frequency selection, right? That's probably on the technical side the most difficult part, because finding an open frequency is difficult depending on the weekend.
Yeah, I was going to dig into that, because normally when you go to operate, you sit down, and this is how I do it on POTA. I pull up the POTA website, and I just don't try to find an open frequency. I try to hit a couple of parks just to see where I'm getting out to, and just to figure out how the band's doing. And then I'll try to find the open frequency. You don't have that when you're jumping out of a plane. You have what, 3 to 5 minutes? So
all told, I have about 10 minutes under the parachute, so figure 8 minutes of working time, which is going to change this year. I bought a bigger parachute this year, actually late last year, on purpose, to have a slower descent and have more time to work the radio. So basically, my only angle is to be able to load up SDRs, web SDRs, and figure out a frequency that's open, either ideally open across the nation, or or at the very least mostly open across the nation, and then have a few people on the ground talking on that frequency to hold it for me. So that, believe it or not, that's one of the most difficult parts of this thing, because I can say, okay, we're going to be on frequency X, and then on the Discord, inevitably somebody goes, well, there's someone already on that frequency. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not hearing them on the web SDR in this state, or in that state, or in that state, or in that state, or in that state. So just because you're getting something on that frequency doesn't mean that everybody else is. It is what it is, right? This is the most available frequency that I can find. So that's where we're going. Then the safety aspect of it has to come into place, right? For me, safety is number one. I'm not going to risk an accident on account of a hobby. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? So I have to do two things. One, I have to inspect my skydiving gear, top to bottom. I normally do that anyways, but when I'm getting ready for a jump, I get a little bit hyper focused on making sure that all of that is tip top. And then I make sure that my radio gear, I have my pack right there, is also tip top, and meaning I've selected a frequency. Let me dial that into the radio, power on the radio, dial it in, lock the radio, lock the mic to make sure that it doesn't drift. This is something that has happened to me in the past, where I didn't lock the radio, I didn't lock the mic, and then I got out, and in the process, somewhere between putting it on and then getting out, this dial got spun, or the buttons on the hand mic got touched, and now I'm not on frequency, and I'm calling CQ and nobody hears me because they're expecting me on this frequency, and I'm that frequency now, right?
So is this the picture here? You got the radio in a little pack, almost a fanny pack?
Yep. Is this a Maxpedition? It's supposed to be a slung back, but it also doubles as a fanny pack.
Oh, I don't have it up here. I have 2 of those bags. I love those bags.
It's a really good piece of gear for what it is. I mean, it's meant to be carried as a shoulder bag. And then it has this leg strap behind it to stabilize it. And what I do is I use the leg strap to keep it attached, to keep it from swinging. And then this becomes my a belt instead of a slung on my shoulder. Primarily because I want to be able to eject this thing if I need to. Yeah. Right. And if I put it over my shoulder, I can't eject it because I have the skydiving parachute system on top of it. I can't eject that. So I'll make sure that the radio is dialed in, and then that all my cables are put away or tied what do you call it? I don't have it handy. It's over there, but I have cable ties that are friction based, and I'll make sure that my feed line is tied up, and make sure that it's tied up not just within itself, but also to the pack, so that it doesn't float off on me on exit. And then I stow my antenna. I gotta, I don't know if yours is the same size as this one, but it has a pouch on top.
Yes.
And then I stow my antenna in there. So I've been using either the Pactena InFed half wave or KM4 ACK's InFed half wave. I've used them both. I've also used a 20-meter J pole that I made, and let me tell you, that thing is amazing, but it is bulky and cumbersome, so I can't really use that on a regular basis.
So the photo I have up now is showing the exact same thing you were showing us. It looks like you pulled that out of the pouch and get ready to unfurl it.
Yes. Typically, I will have that with just a bare wire. Most of the time, I'll put let me see, do I have a parachute pull-up cord here? Yeah, let me see, right here. So we use these ribbons. They're made out of soft nylon to close parachute systems, right? Well, it also makes for an easy tail on that, on the antenna wire. So if I clip this to the antenna wire, it drags air, so it floats the antenna almost perfectly horizontal behind me.
What?
Right? It doesn't float up, it doesn't float down. It just floats basically perfectly horizontal behind me. I have put a weight on the end of the cable before just to see how it does. That way the antenna is pretty much a sloper at that point in time. It's never really fully vertical. And I have found that there's very little difference, and adding the weight adds yet another thing that can entangle. So I've been going without the weight. Just this works really well. So you unwind the wire and stream it behind me, typically on the left. I try to keep everything on the left. The handles in the parachute system are primarily on the right, right? So your pilot chute is on the right. Your cutaway is on the right. Your reserve is on the left. But on my system, the process of cutting away, if I have an entanglement, if I have an issue with my main parachute, that process also has a backup system that the moment I cut away, it also deploys my reserve immediately thereafter. So the left side is less of an issue if I have something on that side. And then, off to the races we go, right? Turn on the radio, listen to make sure that if there's people that I can hear somebody there. And if I can't hear somebody, then I need to make, double check the frequency on the radio that it hasn't been messed up. And then now it's time to, start playing, CQ, right?
So I got on screen now. Looks like this one you're using a hand mic.
Yes, I always use a hand mic, believe it or not.
I think that would just be too noisy, but you said there's not any noise.
There's some wind noise, right? You can't completely escape it because you're flying into the wind typically. That's another part of the checklist of the preparation that I have to do is I have to go and look at what's called the winds aloft. Excuse me. So just because the winds are coming from the west on the ground doesn't mean that the winds are coming from the west at 3,000 feet or at 6,000 feet or at 9,000 feet or at 12,000 feet, right? So I have to look at the winds aloft report and basically memorize that table. Which way are the winds coming and at what speed? Because if they're fast, then I need to get out farther. And if they're slow, I need to get out closer. And I need to face into the wind for a good part of my skydive, because otherwise I'm not going to land on, right? I'm going to be landing way off. So that's part of the preparation that I hadn't noted yet, but that's absolutely something that's critical in terms of making sure that I land back at the drop zone. I'm not required to land at the drop zone, but it's ideal to land back at the drop zone because I want to be able to pack everything up and go again, right?
Yeah. Or they don't send a chase car, need to jump in a car to go and get you.
Exactly, right? And they will, when we have people that land off, because it does happen. Typically what, someone's on the ground going, okay, that looks like Carlos's parachute over there. That idiot is going to land somewhere off. he's going to be over there. So then they'll send the car,
Mhm.
to go pick me up. And, the other thing is I always have my cell phone on me when I skydive. So if I do land off, I can call the drop zone and go, hey, first of all, I'm safe. Second of all, I'm here. Can you send somebody out, or let them know that if they're already out, call them and let them know that I'm at this specific place.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it's also handy in the event of an emergency. I can always call and take care of myself, right?
Yeah.
Um, haven't had to do that so far. Knock on wood.
Yes. Yes.
I take the safety in skydiving very serious. So I do everything that's needed in order to keep me alive.
Mhm.
And so it's playing radio while under parachute is ridiculously fun for me, and I imagine for the people receiving the call, because the pileup happens. And for me, it's a lot of fun because I get to see how far I can push things in terms of, well, on this jump I'm doing 5 watts, or in this jump I'm doing 10 watts, or whatever the case might be.
So out of the whole outing right now, we covered everything: preparation, jumping out of the plane. Now we're on frequency. You talked a little bit about the noise floor. I'm just curious, when you turn on the radio, have you looked at the S meter just to see what that noise floor is? Absolute zero, like the cleanest you can get it.
It is essentially the perfect antenna deployment because there's no
Oh,
EMI that high. The only electronics near me is the radio. That's it.
and the plane's gone. It's flying
Yeah,
200 plus miles miles
it's
an hour that way.
yeah, it's screaming away from me. I don't know if on a couple of the videos I'll leave the plane leaving as part of the shot,
Uh-huh.
and and it goes away pretty fast. I mean, once the plane, so the process of getting on what we call jump run. Jump run is a direction at the altitude, right? So based on the winds aloft, the pilot tries to put us on the wind line so that when we leave, we're facing the wind. And then the pilot also pulls back the speed, right? You don't want to leave the airplane when the airplane is doing 150 knots. Okay. You want to leave the airplane doing 80 knots. Actually, you want to leave the airplane doing 60 knots, but then we'll slow it down that much first. So the pilot will trim back power to about 80 knots. And then when we get out, once the last person is out, that pilot takes that throttle and just buries it, because the pilot gets paid based on the number of cycles they have in an hour, right? So if they can get 4 cycles an hour instead of 3, they get an extra bit of money, right? So the pilot buries that throttle, and his job or her job, because we have male and female pilots, is to get back down to the ground as soon as possible to pick up the next load and put them in the sky.
Do they just bank it over and hold on? Let me transition here. Do Do they just bank the tail over and just go right down to the freeway?
Pretty much, right? So they give the last jumper a gap, right? Because they don't want to be under you. But what they do is, like, once the plane has a rear view mirror on the inside, because the pilot wants to see when the last person leaves.
Yeah.
As soon as that last person leaves, he or she buries the throttle and gives, I don't know, 300 or 400 feet of distance, and then they dive in, right? The plane can't dive straight down, but it is almost straight down because of there's limitations on airspeed for the frame.
Of course.
So they basically take it to the limitations of the airspeed, and then come in banking to set up for landing. And like, if you ever ride the plane, just ride the plane, you're in for the most amazing roller coaster ride, because
or you get up there and freak out like, nope, I'm jumping.
The
pilot's going to look at you and say, this ride's going to be worse than that ride.
Oh yeah, it really is, because the pilot goes, okay, well, I'm burying this because my job is to get the next load up. And the pilot just dives as fast as the airplane rating allows for him or her to do. And I'm all alone. So the only electronics anywhere near me are the radio and my altimeter. GoPro, of course, because I'm have one. So the EMI coming out of my altimeter is nil. The EMI coming out of my GoPro is nil. So the only source of interference is the radio itself. So the S meter is 0. It is beautiful. And the thing is, the tuning of the antenna is difficult because I can only get it so close on the ground because I have ground to deal with, right? So ground reflections on the ground change the SWR so I can get it close. But when I get up there, so I've had times I'm like key up and the SWR is 1-to-1, and sometimes it goes 1.4 or sometimes 2. It just depends.
Well,
because
most radios could deal with that. That's not too egregious. No.
Oh no, I mean, but it's really weird to look down and key up and talk and to look at the meter and see that the S meter is, the SWR is not going wacky on you. It's just like, there's almost none in there, and you're like, am I transmitting? And the only way you find out is when you unkey and you hear, hey, I hear you, here's my call sign, 59. I'm like, yes, okay, I'm working, this is working.
Steve in the chat asks, has anyone else in the chat made contacts with you when they're skydiving? If you're in the chat and you made contact with Carlos when he's in his parachute mobile, let us know. Do you have special cards? I was trying to hold that, and it just came out, and I just
do, but I don't have one with me. It's in my office.
Okay.
But I have a set of special cards. I haven't actually built non-parachute mobile cards out of sheer laziness, and I only mail out QSL cards one way or another. I only mail them out on parachute mobile contacts, or if we made a contact and I was doing a Parks on the Air and you sent me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I can't deny you a card.
Yeah.
So I'll address you a card, even though it's for Parachute Mobile, and send it to you. But I need to get it off my butt and get some non-Parachute Mobile cards built. And I'm not really good with the design of things. So it's been a struggle to put something together that isn't Parachute Mobile.
Hopefully this comes out well. This is my QSL card.
Oh yeah.
So that's the one. If you just send me your QSL card, I have a stack of them that thick right now. I'm going to start going through. And you want my card? I'm good on QRZ. And then there's this one. The light. Come on, light. There, maybe. There, maybe. There. That is my personal one. If you send me one with all the contacts and I can verify to my logs, you'll get this card. So I do have 2. So I got the plain one. Well, not plain one. They're both cool. They're both cool. They're both collector.
Oh, absolutely.
I say collector because I made them. But yeah, I have 2 too. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do 2. I want to do one kind of special, and that's why this one came about. If I made contact with you, because the people do send me their cards, say I like to meet you in person, and those are great, and I love them, and I want to respond with something, but I just want to have something a little extra for the ones that I do make contact in the air.
I have one here from Belgium that I keep next to my radio because it's my my constant reminder that I need to get off my butt and get regular QSL cards made. This gentleman in Belgium is just basically seen a number of streams and basically sent me a card. Okay. And I owe him a card. I absolutely owe him a card. And
I got one too. You continue.
So this is the constant reminder. Every time I come to my radio, I go, okay, I need to get off my butt and build a card and then send him one. He'll be the first one to receive a regular card because he didn't have to send me it cost him €1. I mean, I don't know if you know, but €1 is like $1.30 right now.
So you got Belgium, I raid you Germany. And nice. He sent me this nice little 3D print of tank radio, and I'm trying to cover up my address because I finally went pseudo-anonymous with the P.O. boxes. But he printed me a tank radio on a purple background. That's awesome. This is from Tom in Belgium. Oh, wait, this is Belgium too. Hey, it's probably the same guy, man.
Let's
Uh,
see. This is Tom Oscar November 7 Delta Charlie from Husselt, Belgium.
I'm going to. I don't see his call sign on this one. He's saying he did his first contact on POTA, liking it. He is. Yeah, I'm going to butcher his last name. It's Tom D. But I really appreciate this. I
Yeah,
treasure
DeBats. Tom
this.
DeBats.
The best. Yeah, hey, it is
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So both of us, Tom, if you're watching, we appreciate this so much, and
Really,
we
really,
will be getting
because
you a card soon.
and like I said, this is my inspiration, my constant reminder that I need to get off my butt and get a normal QSL card done. 45 Auto says he has a picture of me on the ground with my gear on the ground with a pouty face. I wonder where he got that. I don't remember.
Ooh.
I don't remember that.
So let's get
Go
back
ahead.
to you. You're on the air now. You're making contacts. Are you recording them? How are you logging them? This is the question we all get.
Oh,
What logging software you use?
let me tell you, this the part of the challenge that I have doing Parachute Mobile is this thing.
Uh-huh.
This is a handheld recorder. It's a Tascam something or other, a DR05X. And I can connect it to the radio. And when I remember to turn it on and I remember to hit the record button, most of the time it records the QSOs and it allows me to create a video that I can then edit and post online. The problem is that the audio from the radio on the back port of the radio is not volume controlled and it overdrives this thing badly. So it makes for very difficult editing. And the other part of it is that I have had it where I started recording and then somewhere between the exit and the first QSO it turns off, and sometimes I've had it where somewhere between the exit and the first QSO, or maybe 2 or 3 QSOs in, it stops recording. And I haven't figured out how to make this thing not give me issues, but it's the only way I have right now for recording the audio, other than the audio from the GoPro. And it's a challenge. There's a hold button on the side, and I don't know if it'll come through on the video or not.
Yep.
But even with the hold button turned on, so that I hit the record button and I verified that it's recording, and I've turned the hold button so that none of the button inputs on this thing make any change. I've had it turn off, and it drives me insane, but I don't have a better way right now. I am chasing for a radio that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And the one thing that is really cool about my FT3D is that it has a built-in SD card slot, and I can tell it to record all the audio from the QSOs. And that's how I started this thing. I just started recording that, and that's how overlay it. But I haven't found an HF radio.
Adam says Sony makes an inline recorder that has audio input settings, and that is our Adam K6ARK, man. Woo!
Send me, if you could, send me a link to that, and I will absolutely drop the money on it to see if it works better than this. At this point in time, I have nothing to lose by trying something else. Because like I said, when this works, it works, but it hasn't worked more than it has, right? So this is how I log. Basically, I get to the ground, I watch the video, I listen to the audio, and I actually, make out write out the log, and that's where I go for, putting it on my video and sending QSL cards out and whatnot. So the other thing is that I've had people record the audio that they're receiving. So Joe Brett, for example, has recorded audio on his receiving end, and he sent me an audio file of the entire jump. And oddly enough, he'll catch most of the audio. And I've been able to confirm QSOs that I wouldn't be able to confirm otherwise from that. Or Jeff Nomad has also done the same thing. And I have had a couple other people. I think 45 Auto has also done that for me. Yes, I'm good on QRZ. Thank you.
Scout
Um,
is also seconding Adam's comment. He says those Sony digital inline recorders are amazing. Um,
s-
so that might be your
so
answer.
right now I'm willing to spend the money to try it out. I haven't looked at the specs on the 705 yet, the IC 705, but I am. Excuse me. I made a note of this on Thursday night's FT8 off. I reached out to RNL on a hope and a prayer, just thinking maybe, right? And yes, the answer was yes. They were going to let me borrow one of their 705s, and I'm going to jump with a 705. And if it has the SD card slot and if it's capable of recording, that will solve that problem for that jump. So the plan right now is to make a jump or a few at Xenia this year, and record them on the 705, and the 705 will do that. And if not, I'll put the inline recorder with the Sony or whatever, and hopefully that's how I log, right?
We're looking
That's
looking forward to it. We're going to continue on. We're going to take a quick pause for a second. My email popped. Buy Me a Beer is working, but for some reason the audio's not playing, so I'm not seeing your names popping up. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say James. Thank you for your Buy Me a Beer. Thank you very much. That is KI5 Mike Bravo Oscar. I really do appreciate that. And then I also have AC3IK. That's let's do this phonetically. I need to stay phonetics. Alpha Charlie 3 India Kilo. Thank you very much. And TC Fitz. Also, thank you very much. The gentlemen that have bought me a beer since last stream, Don's Lux. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And hopefully I say this right. Gaptastic. Gaptastic. Yep, that's how I'm going to say it. Thank you for your very generous donation to the channel. I do appreciate that. Everything I do is free. I just put it out there, and all this helps me support the channel and keep the ball going, and go out mostly for meetups and hamfests right now. Nothing is put in my pocket. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And that link is also pinned in the top of the chat and also down in the description.
buy him a beer. Buy him a beer. Buy him 10 beers.
Right now it's wine. Ooh. Hold on,
Buy him a
hold on.
wine.
Dink. Pinky out.
Pinky out. I think that's for tea, though.
What are you drinking tonight?
A LaCroix of seltzer water. Like I said, I don't drink a whole lot of beer. I don't drink a whole lot in general. And nothing against it. It's just I have other stuff to do, man.
Hey, as long as you're here enjoying the evening with us, that's
exactly
all I care about. Beer, no beer, because, well, if you don't drink it, that means there always could be a ride home, and we really do appreciate your designated drivers out there.
and please, if you drink, do not drive. My dad was paralyzed by a drunk, and that is no fun for the family that ends up having to deal with that. All right, so please don't do that. Back onto more joyous topics. I gotta say, I gotta pull this out of my hat here. Let me see if I can find it. I know I have a note somewhere. On my very first HF jump, this was, like I said, I noted it on Toad's Discord, and I noted it on HRCC's Facebook group, and I was expecting those folks to maybe be there, right? And what I didn't know was that weekend was Rookie Roundup. Ooh. And if you're not familiar, Rookie Roundup is for new hams that just got their ticket or their upgrade to try to get some QSOs in. And there was a fella out of, I think it was Bolingbrook. His call sign is Kilo Delta Niner, November Hotel Zulu. And he stumbled onto it. Basically, he was spinning the dial, heard Parachute Mobile, and he went, KD, Kilo Delta Niner, Oscar, Lima November, Kilo Delta Niner, November Hotel Zulu, 5-9 into Bolingbrook. Are you really Parachute Mobile? So when I landed, I gathered my gear and I put it all away, and I went to my RV to offload the video to make sure I had a good copy of it and whatnot. And before I got out of the RV, a little pop on my email, pink, an email from him. did I really just make contact with you? And were you really parachute mobile? Like,
Mhm.
yep. And then he's told me about Rookie Roundup, and this was his first HF contact. So
Oh, beautiful story.
in the event that he's
Beautiful.
listening or watching to this now, let me tell you, you're spinning the dial works.
That's awesome. 45 Auto says, and IC 7100 with a card will also record your QSOs.
The problem with the 7100 is that I cannot take a parachute mobile. Hang on, I'm reaching into the. So because of the form factor of the 7100 not being able to lock the face into the radio,
Ooh,
I have to be
yes.
able to put the radio and the head control head all together into here.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the 7100 won't allow me to do that, right? I don't have a good way of doing that with the 7100, or I would have bought one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm chasing a ghost. My hope is, I'm crossing my fingers, is that either ICOM or Kenwood or Yaesu announced a new radio at Xenia with the capacity for what I'm wanting to do, and I'm hoping, right? But and it's and I'm saying that because I was talking to one of the gentlemen in my group, my local club, and I was getting ready to just pull the trigger on a Yaesu 891, and he said, no. I'm like, well, why? He goes, well, you're going to Xenia, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, typically, now Roger has been a ham since before I was born. Okay, and he said, listen, typically new radios are announced at Xenia. So wait until Xenia, because they haven't announced a new radio to take the place of the 7000 proper, and they haven't announced a radio to take over the 857, I think is what he said, or something like that. That Yaesu had, and so I'm holding back on pulling the trigger on that purchase in the hopes that a new radio that has the capabilities that I'm hoping for is announced at Xenia.
Cool. I want to get to the last part of the parachute experience. You're coming up on the ground. Oh wait, that picture is a little too late. You just opened up your chute. Let's transition to that. Yay! How does that work? So you're about to pull your chute and everything, and how do you get ready? Oh wait, this is at the beginning because you're going down the whole time with the chute. So you're about to get ready to land. You see that landing zone. What preparations there you make?
So at this point in time, there's no more radio play. At 3,000 feet, I kill all radio play. I'm done, right? I have broken that rule a couple of times, because like if I chose to land with the cable where the wire antenna still extended behind me, then I can keep on playing on the mic. But I have my decision altitude, and that is sacrosanct. You fly a pattern, typically is a left-hand pattern. So downwind, base, and final. Anyone in aviation understands that. And if you don't understand that because you're not in aviation, it's fine. Basically understand that we're flying in a predictable form. And when it comes time to land, basically I'm lining up with the direction of my final. You can't see it here, but there's an arrow pointing on the ground. There's an inflatable arrow on the ground pointing in the direction of landing. So I'm lined up with the arrow, and then all I'm doing is a process called the flare, right? And the flare is basically transitioning from I'm giving up vertical speed for horizontal speed so that I can pop the parachute and land gently. And with experience, you can land on your tiptoes, and landing from a parachute jump is as gentle as stepping down from a step stool. It's that gentle. So people are afraid of the impact and this, that, the other. On a good landing, on a proper landing, you're not going to have that. So
do you leave the antenna behind you? You drop it? You pull it in real fast and just do a quick wind on it?
Most of the time, I'll wind it back onto the wire winder, and when I do that, I start at 4,000 feet. And when I choose to land with the antenna trailing behind me, I just make sure that I have no one behind me, right? Because there maybe have another plane flying and already left people behind or let people out. And if I'm landing with the antenna extended, I just make sure that I'm in a clear area that almost nobody goes into, and make sure there's no one behind me, and I just flare the parachute so that it goes from this, this heavy downward
Mm.
movement to up and gently down.
Hmm.
So,
That's
uh,
awesome. And here's the final picture. You on the ground messing with some. I think that is the sound
that's,
recorder.
that's the sound recorder. And if you were to hear the video, I'm cursing at the sound recorder. That stupid thing stopped recording.
We all done that?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's basically the process. You get in, you get out, deploy the parachute, extend the antenna, call CQ. By decision altitude, you stop, wind the wire back up, or leave it behind depending on your decision, and land in a clear and open area. You know, radio is the second priority here, or maybe the third or fourth priority, depending on how you look at it. Me getting out, and putting a parachute safely over my head is number one. Right. So I don't screw around with the radio or anything else until I know that I have a good parachute over my head. Once I have a good parachute over my head, then I proceed to play radio.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we got 3 minutes left before Jason's stream is going to be coming up. So what's coming up? Our plans in Huntsville. I'm on the process of losing weight. I did break keto pretty hard this weekend. I'm sorry, Carlos. I'll overcome it. I was 2 pounds away from my ultimate goal where we talked about.
Nice.
I
Very
have a
nice.
target. I was 2 pounds away. I want to be 5 pounds under when we finally meet at Huntsville, and you're going to take me out, and we're going to parachute.
Yes.
It'll be my first
Yes.
parachuting. We won't do parachute mobile. We just gonna take and throw Frank out of the plane and watch him scream like a little girl.
That's
But
okay. I screamed like a little girl on my first jump. I swear to you that I did.
so that's what's coming up. I can't wait. Hopefully we're gonna have some great video of it. Yay! And it'll be on my video for the Huntsville trip. I can't wait. Are you coming out to also Dayton?
Yes, I
Coming up?
am. So I
Would that be
reached
the
out to
first
the.
time we meet? Have we met before in
Yes,
person?
absolutely. No, we haven't physically met, so we'll
Ooh, I
catch up
can't
at
wait.
Dayton. I reached out to the organizers for Dayton and hoping that they would have a clear and open area for me to land in because there's a drop zone 5 miles away.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
I thought, hey, listen, I can take off there, I can land over there and make it part of your event. And they were like, nope, 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 nope. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just jump at the drop zone and land at the drop zone, and I'll still call CQ. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's going to be fun. I can't wait. Steve says, please record that. Oh, yes, it'll be on camera. Just like me going into the gyro stream. Ah! Man, Jason's video just popped. There we go. He's getting ready to go live. Just like me, when we were at the Rocket Museum, I did the gyro thing where you just spin around and multi-access and everything. 40 seconds. It stopped me at 45 seconds, but I called mercy at 39. And every painful second is on the video. It's at the end. So it's at the end of the video. You can go ahead and watch it. So, Carlos, I am going to give you the full screen here as soon as I find the right transition. Zoom.
So 30 seconds to Jason.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Nice, good questions, good follow through, and questions from the chat. Appreciate everyone that has made a contact with me. I appreciate those of you that are chasing a contact with me. And keep an eye on KD9OLN.com. I will be hopefully posting more details there on upcoming jumps and what there will be. I have a tentative schedule there as to what I plan to do. If you know techs, I plan to make tech-only jumps, so please get some of those folks from the air.
Awesome. Go ahead and put that link in our private chat, and I'll go ahead and add it to the video description for everyone to go ahead and check that out. And I am Tank Radio. I am going ahead and getting ready to join Jason's stream. He's going to have the monthly giveaway stream coming up, so go ahead and join us there. The stream, the link is already in the chat. And also, thank you to all my Patreons. You can find the link to join my Patreon page in the description below. Buy Me the Beer is still going on and active. Thank you again, James. Thank you, Alpha Charlie 3, India Kilo, and also TC Fitz. I appreciate for your donations during the live stream. And till next time, go forth and conquer.
7-3.
And transition.
Thank you
There
to
we
all
go.
my Patreon supporters. You can support me on Patreon. There's a link in the description below. And to all my tankers out there, go forth and conquer.